Good afternoon, fam, and welcome to Words Are Life Live. This is a True Man production, and I am your host, Shelly M. With me today, I have two very special returning guests. I have Miss Tina, Ain't Nobody Fine As Me Taylor, and I got Miss Citra Davis. Before we dive into today's discussion, I want to give you a little insight about Words Are Life and the mission that's behind it. Words Are Life is geared towards self-discovery, identity, and the achievement of ultimate freedom to do you by simply being you. It is my belief that your words are life, that they create your world and result in you having and becoming exactly what it is that you say. So today is part two of holding on to you. I want to do a little recap before we dive into today's discussion. On last month's broadcast, we touched on the topic, speaking of instances, occurrences, experiences, and even encounters, some that help shape the perspectives that we initially accredited to ourselves, some of which we still embrace as being true today. We began to unpack these understandings, their impact on our psyche, and how we now guard ourselves from losing conquer ground, from losing the value of ourself, and in essence, from losing our identity. We're going to come back in just a few minutes and we'll begin our discussion. All right, so we are back again with Tina Ain't Nobody Fine As Me Taylor. And I got Miss Citra Davis. And so I know she's and so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna begin our discussion. And we're gonna start it off with a question. My question is, what have you accepted as your purpose, and how did you come to that revelation? Anybody take the mic.
Good afternoon. Feature you first. That's a deep question. What is my purpose? I think my purpose is to help women to reveal their inner selves, their true selves, their strong selves, to not take doubt, for them to lean on God, to trust in God, and just have a group of people around them that uplift them and edifies them.
But how did you come to that revelation? So many people are not clear about who they are. So they don't know about their identity. How do you know, and how can you rest assured and like guarantee and say, I know that this is me?
Because God has told me that. You have to know your God. You have to know who you are and whose you are. And that begins with whose you are. And again, I said this before, it becomes known by reading the Bible, being in a Bible-based church, just studying the word and listening to God. Citra.
While Citra is thinking, I'm gonna piggyback because eventually God helped to reveal identity to me, but it was more natural.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I started to pay attention to what I veered to all the time, even some things that I did when I didn't want to. So I naturally encourage people. I like to empower people. I like for people to tap in and see the best of them and then try to help them bring that out of themselves. And I found myself doing that with people even when I didn't want to.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it was something that took control of me. And I said, okay, there's something to that then.
Okay.
You know, then God came as I began to seek him and, build that relationship with him. He confirmed that, yeah, that's not natural. That's your gift. Okay. So because I know there are some people watching that may not have that relationship with the Lord just yet. However, there is a way for you to look at your life in the current state that it's in and begin to try to understand you, who you are, and what's my purpose? Why am I here? What is it that you would do for free? And what is it that sometimes you do, again, that you don't even want to sometimes? That person that gets on your nerves, however, you see a light in them and you can't help but congratulate them, but can't help but to encourage them. Stuff like that.
Your passion, Carl. What's your passion?
What's your passion?
What moves you? Hurting women moves me because I've been hurt in different areas, and I've learned to heal that hurt through Bible and through women who've helped me.
Mm-hmm.
So my passion is more just for women, especially younger women growing up, going through life. I was a single mom. My son's father was there, but I was a single mom at home.
Mm-hmm.
So around my environment, my immediate environment, I had to learn how to grow and go through life, just learning different things. And I learned that through the Bible and through different people that poured back into me.
That's good.
I think we were all put here to help one another. And I think we're all gearing towards the same thing as far as helping women.
Mm-hmm.
Mine may be the younger generation more so. Because I raised two girls, my daughter and my sister, and having to raise them, they were around a lot of young girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to teach them things, and I think that's what part of my purpose is,
Mm-hmm.
to help the younger women. I've always been a laid back person. I ain't ever had to show my body to get anything, and I always wanted to teach girls.
Absolutely.
It's up here.
Mm.
It does not define what you show or whatever to determine who you are.
Yeah.
It does not make you that person. So that's why I think I'm supposed to help girls. At times I still try to figure out my purpose, but when it all comes back is to help our young women.
Yes.
Yeah. I know we're forever growing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never, I believe, arrive to a place where we're not shedding some of the old self or some of the new self being revealed to us. However, I do believe there's a core within us. So there are layers that may come off as we grow, but there's a core within us that remains unchanged, that God put in us to say, this is you. Now, I may have you express it in different ways. I may have you contribute it in different areas. But at the end of the day, just like I believe our big brother Jesus, no matter where he went, he was the same. There was a core within him. He had a mission that he was on no matter where he went. And I believe the same is true for us. And so when you say, I know you raised your daughter, you raised your sister, you went through a lot by yourself. And at that point in time, you thought you were being self-taught, even though I believe that God then had truly adopted you and he was teaching you hands-on, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else was going to get the glory out of who Tina became.
Nobody.
Nobody was going to be able to say, I did that. How did you, in going through those things, adopting those things, and then owning them, how did you go from this is a stage in my life to this is what I want to share with women like me for the rest of my life?
How did I get to that point? It's not a hard one. It's hard to explain because I deal with the gift of prophecy. Mm-hmm. So I battle with that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people used to say psychic. That bothered me because my grandmother raised us. She was always saying that's God's voice in you. So a lot of stuff I would see and hear, and I wouldn't even pay attention to it, just completely black out because I didn't want to face it. Because I wasn't in church. I wasn't always the good girl. I was, doing that's stuff. But in the end, the gift started overtaking me. As I got closer to God, it was like, you can't sit here and not have my gift fulfilled. Mm-hmm. So people don't even know I can walk into a room and tell you about your whole life. Yeah. And I would go home and cry at night because I would just be like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? I'm not in church. I'm not obedient. I'm doing worldly things. So it took time. It took me being by myself. I go back to reading the Bible and just listening and understanding what the gift is for. And that's to edify God. And that's to uplift people, knowing that God hears you. God cares for you. He speaks to you.
So you fought, which is good. It's good.
It ain't good.
It's good as a part of this conversation because a lot of people do. You fought your identity.
Tooth and nail.
You fought your calling. I remember sometimes when you would say, I know, right? Because we've all experienced things. I remember sometimes when you would say, God gave me something to tell you, but I ain't going to tell you.
I ain't going to even say nothing.
I'm not going to say nothing.
I don't because I didn't like talking to people.
Like it.
I didn't want to sit and have a conversation with you, but God wouldn't let me sleep sometimes. He would literally not let me sleep. It's times where if I know I'm supposed to speak to a person, I have been disobedient, I cannot rest, and that bothers me. So yeah, it's
So it got to a point then where you finally gave in
yeah.
to your identity.
After many
Yes,
years,
ma'am.
and after seeing
Yes,
that the world
ma'am.
wasn't for me.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
I've heard you speak a couple of times. You even spoke to me.
I know, but I work with you. I'm comfortable with you.
Okay.
It's been
Okay.
times I could be in the store and he'll say, go say something to her. And I'll be like, Lord, I'm in Walmart trying to get this loaf of bread. Please, God, don't have me go to this lady. And I get there and get home, my bread will be mold in 2 days. I can't even eat the bread. So this is real life stuff.
It's battles. It's battles in
Yeah.
what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And sometimes we do.
I'm supposed to do the girls. I mean, I do my work, but I think I'm on a setting to teach these girls. But I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
and
do.
you have a teachable spirit.
You do.
So I can see that in you.
And it's natural.
Yeah.
There are people that draw to you, young girls, like you
Yes,
say,
yes.
because the old ones run away from you, but the young ones, they
I
draw.
ran away from her. When I first met her, I ran away from her. I'm like, nobody got time for Citra.
The old ones run away from her, but the young ones,
Right.
she take under her wing.
Mhm.
She becomes a mother to them. You
Yeah.
become a mother to them.
And you have a lot of wisdom.
And you have a lot of wisdom, and you give your contribution
Is that
to
it?
them.
Because I'm going to have that.
That is.
I had
But you
that wisdom.
give your contribution to them effortlessly. I mean, you just give it.
You get that from your mother.
But it's also what
I'm
God.
sorry. See what I mean?
I do.
Okay,
But
okay.
it's
It's okay. We talking.
But we
Okay.
talking, right?
I appreciate that.
Okay.
And that, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about when I talk about your identity. Something that this is you. You can run from it, you can fight it, but you can never get away from it because it is you.
And the fights get harder
They do.
because then pieces of your life start, everything have to balance out.
Yeah.
So if you fighting a major part, all that little stuff, it may work for 1 or 2 times after that, but eventually it all crumbles down.
He'll make it better once it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you have a peace and a freedom, even if you got to
You're
go
doing-
through some changes because you got to get rid of them soul ties that you may have
Jesus.
connected with. Right. Those soul
Don't
ties.
talk
and
about soul
that's right.
ties.
I'm just saying.
No, but they're real.
They
Yeah.
are.
And it's a freedom and a peace that comes when you finally give into who you are. Finally.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right now.
Right.
So let me go on to the next question. So my next question is, in accepting your purpose, how did you or do you know when you have become dysfunctional? Meaning you're no longer operating in who you now know yourself to be. Are there any signs, any symptoms?
Absolutely.
And or are you so oblivious to it that somebody have to come and tell you not acting like
Mhm.
yourself?
When you're being oblivious, you're working out of pride or
Mm,
ego.
mm.
So you know,
You get in your way.
you're not at peace. You
For
know.
me, I can say I was shut down. Don't want to be bothered, but I still got something pulling at me.
Mhm.
This is so much bigger than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I shut down a lot. I don't want to talk.
So that's how you know when you're not operating
Mhm.
in yourself. When you're
Yeah, and
not
I
being you.
twist and turn at night and have to call that person and be like, I didn't want to be bothered, but I'm here. I've done it
And
before.
it's harder doing that.
I've done
it's
it
harder
before
doing
where
that.
I turned my phone off for a week and somebody needed me in that time.
Ooh.
Don't that
We
hurt?
talk about
It
that
does.
all the time.
We
It
do.
does.
And see, True, I'm guilty because I turn my phone off every day at 6 o'clock.
Oh,
Okay, but
I don't
tell the
know.
whole truth, Tina. You don't just turn your phone off. Come on, tell the whole truth.
What's the whole
Tina.
truth, Shelly?
The whole truth is Tina will block you in a minute.
I will block. I don't know why they made the block button. Why do I do that?
Tina will block you and forget she blocked you and call
I-
you and be wondering why you ain't called her back. You
I know.
have.
I'm
You just not
horrible.
unblocked yet.
And see, that's not godly because, like she said, there's people who need you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I've
But
got.
why are
to-
you like that?
No,
I know. I don't want to be bothered.
don't do that. Don't just.
No, I mean we're talking. Why don't you? No, seriously. Why don't you? I know I don't want to be bothered.
How
I
does
get in
that
my selfish
empower you?
ways, and
It doesn't empower me, and it in no way empowers me. It makes me feel bad. But
you keep doing
I know.
Ooh, she just not gonna stop.
Ouch.
Wow.
Did you see
I got
Lord,
cut.
was this for me?
I
But
got
no.
cut on that
I'm
one.
learning though. I'm learning that that's not a way to get by myself. I have to make time for myself.
Mhm.
And I've had numerous conversations about this, which means it's coming to a head because
Mhm.
don't smile. I have to stop that because there's people out there now who needs me more than ever now.
Mhm.
And I get so in my life ain't perfect and my life ain't this. And why does God take me here? And why do I got to speak to her? That's a selfish Tina
Mm.
working out of pride.
But if Tina will listen to just me talking, if you
I'm
will
listening.
listen to God, the people that you probably are running away from will fall off, and the ones that's needed will grab you.
Yeah. But I have a strong faith that anybody I'm supposed to speak to, he gonna let me know.
But not if you holding on to
I
some of the
know.
ones. Sometimes we hold on and block our own blessings by holding on to something that he's trying to take away
You
from
are
us.
absolutely right.
But it's
So
not for
yeah.
us to, like Citra was saying, and I heard TD Jakes say it before too. We don't have the right to cut people off. It's God who
They were just
He will remove them, uproot them if they don't go along with our future. All we got to do is stay on the right side of right. He'll take care of all that for us. And so I know for me, when I'm not being myself, I normally will come in. Oh, did
God
you
bless
choke? The devil.
I was getting ready to
The
laugh
devil.
at you.
The devil.
I'm not joking though.
Maybe you were supposed to because you were laughing. Maybe you choke. But for me, there are times when somebody has to tell me, or make mention to
That's
me.
why I laughed.
I know you did. I'm very clear on why you Sometimes people have to tell me, like on our last broadcast, when one day Citra had to say, well, what's wrong with you? And I didn't think there was nothing wrong with me because I have mastered being able to cover up.
Well, so you think?
Or so I thought. Let me say that cover up so I don't feel it, even though I'm displaying it. Sometimes in growing up as the oldest child, there are some things that you just got to sit down, be quiet, and take it.
Yeah.
And you to make it through that childhood, sometimes you have to numb yourself. It doesn't mean that when you numbed yourself that people can't see you. You just try not to see yourself because there's nothing you can do about it. And that does cross over into adulthood, which also adds or aids to sometimes my dysfunction when I'm not being me. I normally come in a room and I'll speak to everybody. I'm normally smiling. Sometimes I come in the room, walk past everybody, I don't even see them. And
so you can't start something and people look for that and then stop it because you're having a bad day. And I'm guilty of that. But don't do that, see. You just laugh at everything. I know, I'm saying I do it.
She thought you was co-signing
but
her truth.
Yeah, and especially when your emotions or your feelings are visible to others like mine. Like mine's, people know immediately, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And then I'll be sitting there like, Lord, okay, let me get out of myself. Let me get out of my feelings. Let me stop doing this. But that's something you have to work on consistently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I found out that the first thing I had to do was be honest with myself about myself. You know what I'm saying? I know we talked about that before as well. If I'm not okay, then I'm not okay. And I don't have to play like I'm okay, nor do I have to put on airs or put on this face for anybody else. I'm not okay. And when I embrace and accept that that's just where I am today, I can still come in a room and speak. Okay. I can still come in a room and smile because I've owned what's going on with me. That, I believe, is part of your identity as well. Being honest with yourself. It'll keep you from not doing what God called you to do. Other than that, you're sitting up here trying to keep up the lie, so to speak.
And it looks fake, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I said to myself, if I can't be true to me, I can't be true
to nobody.
Had I known that a long time ago,
yes, ma'am,
I'd be in a better place than I am right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I feel like if I can't be true, I can't help you.
Can't help you. Not for real.
Yeah.
Not for real. Then I just want you to get away from me right now because I don't feel like being bothered.
And you can't do that.
I know, but that's why you gotta be honest with yourself. And that's why I asked, because some people don't know. How do you know when you being dysfunctional? How do you know when you're not being true to who and what you really are? You, like you said, for you, gotta tell you to tell somebody something. You be like, I ain't doing that. I mean, that's clear that you're not doing it.
Having a whole conversation, like,
instead of just going saying what you got to say and go sit down.
Yeah.
You know, for me, again, it's coming in, and at some point, even after I sit down, you know, you walk past all them people and didn't speak to them. You know that that's not even you, because God has called you to go into a room and be the light. So how you gonna be the light, and you're not allowing the light to shine because you got something going on with you that you don't want to own,
or do you don't want people to pick up on, or
all of that,
all
of that, and sometimes just embracing the truth that we got this flesh, we human. Every day is not gonna be a good day.
You know, the pastor preached one day. He said, you know what you're not supposed to say or do before you do it.
You do.
How you can call somebody and be like, I ain't gonna say that, but as soon as they pick up the phone, move
It's on.
Yeah.
So can I ask you this? Did you know that you was gonna walk past those people and not speak?
No, because before I understood that I had to be honest with myself, I would be so stuck on myself that I, again,
couldn't see past yourself.
I couldn't see past myself.
So it's nothing to walk past people and be like,
it's nothing for me to be sitting right here and you be talking and I don't hear nothing that you say because my mind is elsewhere. But that's also how I grew up. And sometimes, again, you don't know what somebody is going through, but you becoming somebody else to make it through a situation is real. Yes. And sometimes you have to completely numb yourself so that you don't feel anymore. When you've been hurt so much, you'll numb yourself so you don't feel, and you so focused on something else, whether it's getting up out of here, you can go past everything and everything go past you, and you are completely oblivious.
Which goes back to triggers. What triggers those moments?
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
That trauma and them triggers.
Whatever. I can wake up and hear a news story and be like, you know what? And it'll just trigger something. So you have to, that's why a lot of times I don't even watch TV, because I don't want to pray. You spend a whole hour praying, then you hear a story on
you
TV, you back, like, what happened? So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so let's go to our next conversation, or part of this conversation. What do you now have in place to keep you from completely losing or abandoning your purpose, your identity? Now that you have embraced what it is, what, aside from I don't care, aside from that, because there are some things that we say, okay, I can see you coming from a mile away, I ain't going. You know what I'm saying? So what do you have in place to keep you at being you?
God used me for you, not for me. if I say something, and I'm serious, because I'll be like, I don't care. I don't.
And then
I know it's not a good thing, but I think as you get older, you feel like I can't.
That's what it is. It getting older.
I mean, there are some things you don't care about as much as you used to. They don't bother you like they used to.
Yeah.
They rub off your shoulder, as opposed to infiltrating you like they used to. But there's still a you in there, and there's still, because the enemy gonna always be the enemy. And so it's always something that's like hiding around the corner to try to get you to knock you off your square. How do you prevent that from happening?
I try to stay grateful. And consistency is a hard thing for me in certain areas. So that would be my battle point. I have to literally get up and physically say, Lord, don't let me be Tina today. Let me be the Tina that you need. Because I'll get out and I'll be like, my hair ain't done. And don't look at me. I don't feel strong today. But consistency is a hard thing. And that's something that I myself have to keep in daily practice. And I go back to that with the gratefulness. Thank you, God, for waking me up. Thank you that my family's healthy. Thank you that I'm still, with so much going on and so much different stuff affecting different people in the world. And just life, just having a gift, God, to me, having a gift that God gives you, like what he's given me, is amazing. So I don't want to take that for granted. And I don't want him to think that I'm not being the good steward and using it.
Mhm.
So the consistency comes in, like Tina, be God's servant, don't be Tina. And then my day goes better when I do that.
And that's how you stay on your square.
That's how I try to my 100% to stay on my square. Yes.
So when obstacles are coming at you, and we all have an old self,
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, what is it that you do to keep the old team?
I've learned to pull back now. I always question why. I think it's a reason for everything. I don't think nothing is a coincidence, no matter how small or minute. So I always be like, okay, Lord, what led up to this? Or why am I going through this? Or how am I even supposed to handle this? Because you know me, God. You know the old Tina, right?
Oh, right.
Like, so how does this situation, how can I change myself plus the person in this situation, if not the whole
That's
situation?
big.
So I try to ask for rules or, just something like an opening, like completely get out of myself, which is hard. Just completely being humble.
And it sounds like having constant conversation.
Constant.
It's not just a prayer in the morning, a prayer at night, a prayer on Sunday. It's literally
you need a prayer at the gas station.
Come on now.
You need to, people be like, move. You be like, Lord, I just want 87 in my car. But so it's constant conversation. And that takes hard work because you got to tune out your outside life. And I'm not saying ignore total things that's going on, but there's a way you got to go about it now. And I think it is coming with getting older. Like getting older, stuff don't affect me as much. I know this is happening for a reason, or God is going to use me for a reason, or what am I supposed to do right now?
That's good. So to those that are younger, because I know when we were younger, let me speak for myself, sometimes you can't see past that moment, that situation. And you feel like if I don't address this right now, the way Shelly needs to address it, that person may think I'm weak. They may think I'm dumb. I ain't gonna let you talk to me. All that right there, all that. But as you said, there comes a point in time when you can be faced with that same scenario, that same situation, and there's a wisdom that'll rise up in you and show you a different way to handle that same situation.
And you have to listen. I didn't want to listen. What? Who said it? No. But you have to really listen. Why are you laughing?
Because I have a friend that you don't listen to nothing.
Yeah, you have to listen, and that takes practice. Wisdom is, asking God to show you what to do when you don't know what to do.
It's the how.
So give me wisdom, Lord, to just do life with you, with people that I know. I don't know what this person went through before they came in my presence. So anything I can do could trigger them. I don't want to be that trigger for nobody. I know how triggers work. So that's where I have to be consistent in my stance. Like, okay, even though you just cussed me out, I want to smile and say, girl, you crazy. God love you.
But it keep you on your square.
Yeah.
It keep you on your square.
Instead of you being in jail or shot or dead.
It keeps you on your square, and it keeps you from aborting or voiding out your witness. Because there are some things that it's hard to bounce back from when you allow yourself to have a moment.
Yeah.
When you say you are this and you quote unquote living as this, and then you have a moment.
Because spirits will test you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you have in place for you? Like I said, it's constant communication with
constant.
God. It's constantly being grateful and gracious and letting it be known. And then, like you said, listening, not being so quick to speak.
Yeah.
But let me listen to see what's behind what it is that I'm seeing with my eyes. There's something behind that.
And see, I try to listen to people's tone, and that's just something that I do. When they speak, and I know if you're coming from a place of joy or a place of hurt or something else is outside of you talking, where I'll be like, okay, Lord, how do I relate to this? Or what do I need to speak into this right now? Because am I talking to per se Shelly or Citra? Or am I talking to the Citra that just I don't know, just hit a bad day at the gas station.
Right.
So you know what I mean?
I do.
And I know that's my Citra because I know Citra. So
right.
I try to listen to their tones and their voices. And,
yeah.
Basically.
Is it you speaking or what you just went through?
Yeah.
I think I'm still working on stuff. I don't I'm not a person to snap off like that, but you're gonna know what I mean when I say it.
Yeah.
I think I'm more straightforward, and you gonna know, you know. So I'm still working on me. I can't relate that to you
Okay.
because I'm still. I know I will sit in my own four walls
Mhm.
like I'm running from something now because
Mhm.
I know I'm not ready to be tested by certain things.
But
I
why
don't
are you
want-
strong?
I know, but maybe I'm still flesh.
We all.
I know how to deal with you, but at that time, like you just said, you might be going through some, and well, I have been at work and went through some, and I ain't never
Yeah.
displayed.
Absolutely,
I really have.
you have.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a me thing, thinking
And it
I
could
can.
be because
Yeah.
I've been at work and y'all be like, "Oh gosh, she in there crying." I'm like, "Oh, about to kill her." You know?
But I think for the most part, I've always, you can know when something wrong, but I've always been who I am, like I am
But are
now.
you genuinely that other seat you when you're dealing with stuff and you're trying?
am.
Are you?
I am.
Okay.
You will know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
You
all
know.
know. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, you will know. So I mean, this is what, and I tell people, what you see now is this is who I am.
Mhm.
I ain't saying it's right or it's wrong,
Mhm.
but this is who I am.
Yeah,
And it's not right or wrong. It is who
Right.
you are.
it's just you.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing all the time, and I don't think it's a good thing. My friends say, you too strong. You don't know how to do this. But then, yeah, I am.
But then you.
But when
they
you
call
see
on
somebody else do something, you be like, no, that's why I'm like that.
Yeah.
because you don't want to go through that.
Exactly. So I try not, I listen and I pay attention, as you said, to a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want to get myself into.
Mm-hmm.
So strength would be your biggest.
I'm too strong.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, or like when you say you're too strong, and I don't want to use weak as a word, but how do you just like, okay, Lord, I'm not strong enough for this.
I've been doing that lately.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, God, I'm tired.
I need
I'm
to work
trying
on
to
your
do
strength.
this by
Yeah.
myself
Yes.
because
That part.
I am too strong for my own good.
Yes.
And I know this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come to me. No.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tired of being that strong individual.
Okay.
You know, I keep saying how you surrender, and when I try,
But
That's a process.
but I've been singing, not saying this. When I've been in my house 17 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. Mhm.
When I lost my job 2 weeks before I closed on my house, but I'm still there.
yeah.
Mhm.
He continues to strengthen me, but sometimes I just think I don't know how to let nobody. You understand? I'm just
Yeah, I
too
do,
strong for
I
my
do.
own
Good,
good, and
yeah.
it gets in the way sometimes.
But it sounds like, based on the path you and God have yet to take to deal with why you so strong, because it's a reason you so strong, and that you maintain that strength that you're tired of also helps you to remain on the square that you on. So no, we haven't all arrived, but you consistently, when I called you a couple weeks ago, you was at somebody's house, and I know you was going somewhere, but you was at somebody's house that you assist, that you help on a regular basis. That strength also helps you not feel, so that you don't get to that point where I'm not helping nobody do nothing. That's a part of helping you stay on your square.
And you have to realize you are not your mother. She was strong, but you will have a different strength. You look to her, and as you should, and I hope I'm saying it where you can understand it. I think that's where you like, I want to be strong like her. I want to be strong like her. You are not her. She watches over you. You have her strength in you, but you are not her. You have to develop your own sense of strength.
Mm.
Well, I tell my family I ain't her.
Say-
So I can say that, you know, because she was very
Mhm.
strong. I'm like, she did it. I
Mm.
ain't her.
Mhm.
And it's hard, but I do get it from her.
Yeah.
It's
And
but it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
And,
that's a lot to. That's a lot
yeah.
of weight to carry.
and see, that's women, different battles we go through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
but,
Yeah,
I know
it's
for
a
me, I
lot.
spend a lot of time by myself, Jesus,
yeah.
Lately,
all the time. Oh, I'm grateful for my husband.
Mhm.
I am, because I spend a lot of time alone. That's how I stay true to me. I have to have my me time. I have to. And sometimes it's just sitting and being completely quiet. So that way I can digress. So that way I can hear from God. So that He can show me throughout the day, and where, okay, you you did good, you missed the mark on this one or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just that personal time with him that I have to have it now. And embracing who I am, I know I cannot go without that quiet time.
Mhm.
I just can't. Other than that, y'all gonna get Shelly. And I don't know what that's gonna look like.
We don't want to see it either.
I know. Because every now and then she'll come out.
Mhm.
And that's when it's like, okay, when was the last time, not you read your Bible, not you sang a song, but when was the last time you spent time? There's a difference. There's a difference between just reading the Bible and actually sitting and talking to God and allowing him the opportunity to talk back to you.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what I have to have. Because I am one that I've said, as long as I can remember, that I was truly adopted by him.
Okay.
That is my father. I have my natural father that I love to life, no doubt. But I know God adopted me and was like, everything that you become is going to be because of me. There is nobody that's going to be able to say
Mhm.
they did A, B, and C to contribute to the woman I'm creating you to be.
Yes.
You know, and so for me to stay on square and do what he wants me to do, do what he wants me to do and the way he wants me to do it, which is huge. I got to steal away.
Yeah.
That's why lots of after 7, somebody be like, "Ooh, please don't call my phone."
Go
That's
back
why
to
I'm
that
in the
phone
bed.
thing.
You know, I'm like, don't call. You know, 7:30, I'm in the bed or whatever. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm just laying there in the dark and just allowing him to just talk to me.
Okay.
If you had to give somebody $1 million to answer the phone, you will get your million because I'm gonna answer that.
Well, I wouldn't
Really?
even know they called after a certain period of time because I have to. It's got to be intentional time. So if I still got the phone on ring or I can hear a ding, it's an opportunity to be distracted.
Mhm.
So there, when it's my time with him, or when I know I need to have some time by myself because it's been stressful today, I disconnect from everything. But I do it routinely.
That's
Some people do staycations every day, even if it's just my tub time. I may be in the
Okay.
tub for 2 hours.
Okay.
Now I'm always working up between 2 and 3. I get up at 4:30 anyway,
Mhm.
so that's my time. And
Yeah.
sometimes I just
Well.
be laying there, just like, okay, God,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and when I tell you I'm up and I'm not tired,
I believe it.
as long as I be like, God, as long as I'm seeking you, give me the strength to go on every day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I told you before, I
Yeah.
ask him every day, give me a word to give somebody, even if it's myself.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I always say, let me be of service.
That's
Because
good.
you never know what you're going to go through. And I know me. I'll be like, you want me to do what? What? And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, Lord, this what you was talking about.
Right. Yeah.
This it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I get up early. My prayer time is like between 4:30. I get up at 4 every day. If I wake up at 2 or 3, for me is usually he wants me to speak to somebody. And I'll be like this under the cover, like, please, God, I got 2 hours left.
Let me sleep.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's my 2 or 3 awakenings. And it's been beneficial to my life, but in one way, like you, I can't go out the day. If I get up late, I had to learn how to be like, Tina, the job gonna be there, because if I don't read the Bible or don't get in the word, I feel like my day is thrown off.
Mhm.
I'm irritated more quicker. Things just don't flow right. Whereas if I get in the car and I have read my Bible,
Yeah.
I'll be like,
It's
okay,
different. There's a
yeah,
patience and a peace.
yeah.
Yeah. So, in concluding this, I've got a question for you all.
Okay.
If you had to complete the following statement, I am.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to keep this in mind in answering that question. I'm not talking about a role. I'm not talking about a title. I'm talking about something that you are that's independent of anybody else. So it's not that I'm a mother because I have a son. I was a mother before I had my son.
Mm-hmm.
It's just who I am innately. So if you had to answer that question, I am, what would you say?
God's prophet.
Mm.
He has instilled a gift in me that I need to speak on, speak of, and speak to, speak over.
That's good. What about you, Mark?
She's a warrior.
She just don't know.
Yeah.
And she loves so hard.
Yeah. That's where that strength come in. She's a battle fighter. She's somebody like you would need if you was riding with Joshua.
Absolutely. It's one that, as I heard, went to an outing, and one of the ladies said that she.
But you know who you are, Citra.
Yeah, she knows.
You know who you
She's
are.
somebody that they say that'll go black.
Yeah.
Meaning go, I'll put on all black. Won't nobody know who I am, but I'll be right there to help you make it do what it do.
You
That's
know
who
who
you
you
are.
are. You have to embrace it, but you already know who you are.
That's who you are.
have a question, ladies.
We have a question. How to part ways from people who have been in your life.
Oh, you have
Miss
to pray over
Teresa,
that.
Miss Teresa. Yeah, you what you do is, in all honesty, as you've heard us talk throughout the broadcast, having God in your life is huge. And you don't necessarily have to cut them out. God will remove them once you've made up
Absolutely.
your mind and made it up in your heart that you want His will to be done in your life as opposed to your own.
And if they're not a part of that will, because if they're a part of that will, they ain't going nowhere.
They're not going nowhere. And that's something that you would have to then end up dealing with, but God would help you deal with that. But one thing you can do too is see if they seek you. And so you stop reaching out. You know, if you believe that this is something that's supposed to be cut, you be still, you pray, and just a simple prayer. You don't have to go in, people praying for hours. No, Lord, if this person not supposed to be in my life, I need you to remove them.
And
let
don't
that
be nasty and say, you know what, God said, let you go today at 3:00.
And on that, once they start not calling or coming around, you will know that's him.
And it'll be a peace with it.
Yes, it will. You'll be like, what
peace with
happened to, or I haven't heard from.
And God cover them.
Absolutely.
And you'll
That
know.
part right there. And to cover them.
Yeah.
And to cover them no matter what. We don't see no harm or danger come to anybody. However, it doesn't mean in being the love of God that everybody's supposed to be in our lives. That is not the way that works. Mm-mm.
Hope we answered your question.
Miss Teresa with your pretty self. And so who no longer serves a purpose because you're on the spirit?
Who knows?
Spiritual journey.
You're on the
Okay.
spiritual journey.
Everybody has a purpose to serve. Now, is that purpose connected to you, or is it connected to something outside of you? So that's where you will have to figure out that part if I'm answering the question correctly. But
Because there are some people that are meant to challenge you. They're meant to push you.
Your
They're meant to. They're
Mhm.
Some of them are your assignment. Some of them are meant to show you some things about yourself that had you not had that interaction and that encounter, you would not have come to know you. So that's why, especially if you're saying you're on a spiritual journey, ask God to reveal to you what is the purpose of this person being in my life, and then you got to sit and be still and wait for the answer.
because you're going to be attacked every day.
Yes, sit and wait for the answer and see what is that about. Sometimes it could be that this person is in your life because they need to see your transformation so that your life can then lead them on the path for them to find their own. So it's a number of things. So don't move too quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask God for some clarity. If it's not His will for it to be removed, and you just keep forward on your spiritual journey. And if that person's supposed to drop off, I promise you, the light that you are becoming, that darkness cannot stay around. It's gonna be gone.
You're going to look up and be like, what's their
happened?
name? What was their name?
Exactly.
No residue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. No residue.
Be ready for when he give it to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because once they leave, somebody else comes.
Oh God.
So,
Oh God. On to the next level.
you're
On
welcome.
to the next level. You are more than welcome, Miss Teresa. So this concludes Holding On to You Part 2. I am so grateful that you all have tuned in. And as my pastor, I got to give a shout out to John Hannah. My pastor says this has been amazing. I am so grateful that I have Miss Tina. Again, ain't nobody fan.
She said, y'all heard her say it. Y'all heard her
Ain't
say
nobody
it.
fan Miss Tina. And I got Miss Tisha Davis that you got to literally get penciled in
You
on
see
the
her
schedule.
wave. She like,
You know
you
what
know
I'm saying?
what?
Because she on her way somewhere when we live
I
up
got,
out here.
y'all was on my schedule today. I
Oh my
punched
God,
y'all
right.
in.
You said 1 hour, let's wrap this puppy up.
It
So-
was great.
Yes,
It is
yes.
always amazing.
So please tune in next month. Next month, we have 2 new guests that are joining us, and our topic is when you have been through too much. I have been through too
Oh,
much.
why you ain't choose me for
Yes,
that one?
yes. Well, we have a big party when we
Okay.
come back once, but we got some new people coming in that have
Okay.
so much to share. Just about having been through too much, and with that, they are not going back where they came from.
Come on now.
Yes.
Come on,
Yes.
Jesus.
yes.
So, if you like, please like it. If you are interested in hearing more from us, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Words Are Life. And again, I love you to life. God bless. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.